passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on, so Nuroff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on, too much feet on the loud pedal, and approaches dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And it definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down it towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start trouble. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
On to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching the Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there. Is that really bunching up now?
Standing out from the crowd is a challenge. You have the passion, courage, and ambition to do something extraordinary. You have an awesome story to tell and a wonderful vision to share with the world. At Eddie Videos, we take that vision and turn it into reality so you can be heard above the rest. You need something different, and we give you the ultimate advantage. We can help you transform your ideas, images, and clips into a professional video that brings your message to life and sets a new bar for excellence. Visuals, voiceovers, editing, animations, whatever you need, we've got it all. If you're a new business looking to make your mark or an experienced company searching for something new and amazing, we're here to help. Trust us to take your video to amazing levels of awesomeness.
Does he have it? Medeiros is going to get it. Look at Tyson. They haven't got it.
He's on the outside line, though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now, though, for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start chopper. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Radical Race Series at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. It's the penultimate round in the final season of this championship for 2023. It's season 4 of this year and we've got just 2 rounds remaining, including this one, and a classic title fight coming up as well, as we hope to see our 3rd championship finale of the year contested for a title. We saw it in seasons 1 and 2. We've had a season off from it, but we're right back on it again because it's very, very close again between Luke Maxwell and Simon Edwards especially, who are separated by only 4 points going into today. Hello everybody, my name's Ewan O'Leary alongside James Parfitt once again for the 11th round in a row of this season. We'll be here throughout the entirety of this season, of course. And what a season it's been here, James. It's been very, very enjoyable. I've got to say, we're just coming towards the end of practice now, and we'll get underway for our penultimate qualifying session of the season. And what an important one it could be. What a close one it's going to be, looking at these practice times.
Yeah, they're all around the 112s. We've got literally 13 people in the 112. So I think with a second between first and 14th, actually, it's going to be very, very close. It's Mosport, isn't it? You know what I mean? We know this circuit. You go round turn 2. If you're on the outside, see you later. You're going to be in the gravel, you know, and the grass, as we should say, on the right-hand side. You will stop now because obviously the new depth added to the iRacing damage model, and so yeah, we know this circuit, Ewan. I think that tricky Moss corner at turn 5 is always going to play an interesting part. That run up through Andretti, we saw it last time out we were here. It was very much the outside line round turn 8 that was the winning line with you coming into 9. So I'm excited for this. I think this could put me and you on the edge of our seat, and with the championship protagonist just there as well, it's going to make it even more interesting. But there is the championship for you.
Yeah, to be fair, saying that it's going to put us 2 on the edge of our seat doesn't really hype it up too much, to be honest, but because it doesn't take a lot. But anyway, this is exactly the reason why we're so excited. It's Luke Maxwell and Simon Edwards separated by only 4 points at the start of the day. Given the fact we think John McCutcheon will be absent tonight, 21 points is probably a bit too far back at this point. 44 back for James Barry now, who's only consolidating that 4th place ahead of Paul LeMay, who's really made a bit of a charge for that position in the final weeks, although there is 40 points between them as well. Paul Clark is in 6th, and he's hanging on from Mike Bousson at the moment by just 1 point. Sergio De La Cruz is likely going to finish in 8th, but he just needs to make absolutely sure of it. Ben Underdown and James Child will have to fight for that top 10, because Jamie Bird is only 1 point behind them. Darryl Taylor would like to make a late charge into it as well from 22 points back. Paul Crabb and Michael LeMay are tied on 195 points, with Phil Jocelyn, Phil Glover and James McRitchie all making big strides forward actually over the course of the last couple of rounds. In the further back positions than that. I think the graphic slightly broke, but I think Wayne Palmer is in is 18th, and then there's the rest coming on further from that. But those are most of the drivers you'll be seeing tonight. Anyway, the important bit is Luke Maxwell and Simon Edwards separated by just 4 points at the start of the day. And we've said time and time again, points don't really matter because they've been so close throughout the season. In fact, neither has gained more than 7 points on the other in the second half of the season. It's been absolutely remarkable, but now they really do matter. If Maxwell can take even more points on Edwards today, he goes into that last round with a big advantage.
Okay, yes, he does, and I think it's going to be absolutely incredible. But I want to ask you a question. Who's going to win the championship?
Well, that's difficult. I'll think about it while Maxwell and Edwards come over the line for the first time. It's the qualifying's going on here.
Sitting on the shelf already. We know we're going to Knock Hill for the reverse, right? In the final race of the season. That's been announced. Knock Hill International Reverse will be the final race of the year. But before we get there, come on, Mr. O'Leary. You know how they've been all season. You've been with me all season. Who's going to take the championship?
And I'll do it now because... I just wanted to call them across the line, really. I think Edwards is going to do it, or I'm going to back him to do it anyway because he's won more titles in the past. Is my only reasoning, really. Although Maxwell did have to survive a championship finale in his championship-winning season as well, which was a year and a half ago now, by the way. It doesn't feel like it, but it certainly was. He does know how to do it as well. I would go with Edwards for the championship, but purely based on numbers, really. It seems bizarre to say that Luke Maxwell's only going for his second title. Feels like he should have more than that, and maybe if Simon Edwards didn't race here, that he would have more. But he's come up against him many times. The two of them have raced together many times, and we're seeing another classic example of that this season. Maxwell makes his way over the line again. These are the proper times now. A 12.2 from him. Edwards can't get anywhere near him so far. Still 3 attempts back after the second laps.
It's very, very close at the front. Paul LeMay has just put himself in 5th. Is that Graham Brown, actually, not Seth Brown? Graham Brown's in 4th with Dela Cruz in 3rd. I think Maxwell's going to do it. I do honestly think Maxwell's going to get this. I think he's worked too hard. He's done a great job all season. He come in, he's battled his way through, and he's put in the amount of work that you need to put in, and he has just been stellar. And that isn't disrespectful to Simon. I know Simon's a great driver. I just think Luke might get it there as well. Good evening, Paul Crabb. Evening, gents. He said, can't race at the moment. Looking forward to tonight's race. Flip a coin for the winner. Yeah, I think, to be fair though, I think the last time Maxwell won was the season before we took over, and didn't that come down to Nords as the final decider?
Yeah, it did, yes, and it was quite confusing, but it was one of those days where drop rounds were making things complicated, because let's not forget that back then we only had one race an evening. Is that still correct back then? I think so, but I guess it must have been. So it made things pretty difficult when there was only one race in the evening. The drop rounds were actually very strong, and it made life very hard. So in the end, Maxwell did take the win, yes, and it was not by a very big margin at all, but he did take it, and he basically followed Simon Edwards all the way to the line and took the title based off of that. So it's going to be different this time around. We're not going to Nords, first of all. Drop rounds will be less of a factor. I'd be very surprised if either of them have to take one now from now to the end of the season. Maybe Simon Edwards will, but if he does, then he'll probably not win the championship, in all honesty. I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an exciting finale. Reverse Knock Hill, of course, which is what we'll be racing at for the final race.
Can you that chicane on the reverse? I bet you Johnny McHutchinson's out there now testing it. He is like, right, I'm going to nail this. He's out there in the SR10. He's doing the Knock Hill reverse already. You can see him hurtling through turn 4 or turn 5. The left, right, down through the chicane, coming the other way. And the interesting thing about that chicane is no matter which way you count it, it's still turn 4 and turn 5. If you come from the normal way, it's turn 4 and turn 5, and if you come from the other way, it's turn 4 and turn 5 as well. Just to let you know. Some useless information for you, but I thought I'd share it with you just in case.
Oh, I quite like useless information, to be honest, so I enjoyed that. But yes, it's certainly something you don't see very often, and that's what we've got. John McCutcheon doesn't look like a likely championship winner this time, though, and so if we get Nordschleife on the calendar again next season, then it's going to be something else, I would imagine, because it won't be John McCutcheon picking the track again, because he's picked Knockhill for the last 2 seasons in his 2 reigning champion seasons, or most recent reigning champion seasons anyway. So we look forward to that. Is it going to be Luke Maxwell or Simon Edwards, though? They're less than 2 tenths apart in this qualifying session right now, and in fact the top 14 drivers are all separated by a second. I know this is a short track, but that is very, very impressive of just how close this field, in a field sometimes that has those top few drivers, Maxwell and Edwards being 2 of them, and then a pretty big gap to the rest. That's clearly not present today.
Yeah, and we've got the 2 LeMays there as well, 5th and 6th. I've just had to put their full names on because I wasn't sure who was who. As Buisson goes up the side of the circuit, I think James Barry, also took a trip. There's Martina Ward. She's here this evening as well. Now, I want to talk about Darrell Taylor. I'm not happy. He's come out of his Skittle livery and given us a black car with a red roll bar. So, yeah, for us to notice that Darrell Taylor is now not in Skittles. He's now in a black car with a red roll bar as he gets it all a little bit wrong coming out of turn 1. It looks like Martina Ward may have also just done the same thing and stuck it in the wall. Clark Williams has got some greens on the board. He's in a very brightly coloured green car as well. He moves himself up into 10th. And also Jamie Bird is coming along round the left-hander here as well. And keeping an eye on Simon Edwards. He has got a purple in that middle sector, but he has got a yellow to offset it. How's Jamie Bird going to do? Is he going to be able to put himself right up there as well? He moves up, but probably not where he wants to be. And Simon Edwards comes over the line, 1,000th up on where he was. So
yeah, basically nowhere.
Nothing.
Edwards. That'll be it. The top 3 are all done, I think. Edwards might be able to go around one more. Mike Bousson has also been off track as well, so he won't be able to go around anymore. Graham Brown's put in a fantastic qualifying performance, though, to get in the inside of row 2. Further back, James Barry's having a bit of a disaster. Not expected to see this from the driver 4th place in the championship standings at the moment, and he is still mathematically involved in the title fight, but I don't think he is... morally, if you like. Realistically, I don't think he can win the title, and certainly not from back in 13th. It's a bit of a disaster of a qualifying position for him.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately for James Barry, he kind of the last couple of races, he took 3rd in the sprint last time out at Bathurst. He wasn't on the podium for the feature. It's kind of been a story of ups and downs for James Barry, really. He has weeks, like the week before, where he was on the podium, and then, unfortunately, it's been up and down from that. So it's been a very, I think, for James, we spoke about him doing the full season last season, Ewan, and I think he's come in and done what he needs to do. Jamie Bird, that is what's going to happen so much on that outside. But just that little bit more consistency, I think, from James Barry, and I think he would be right up there.
Yeah, certainly, and he can get into 3rd place in the championship standings today. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But it's Luke Maxwell and Simon Edwards who are on the front together, and what an important pole position that was from Luke Maxwell. Graham Brown and Mike Bousson will share row 2 ahead of George Gonzaga and Michael LeMay, who's ahead of Paul LeMay. Don't see that too often. Sergio de la Cruz will be 8th ahead of Paul Clark and Clark Williams, who round out the 5th row. James Ritchie and Phil Glover will be on row 6 ahead of James Barry and Jamie Bird, both of whom I think will be disappointed with that. Martina Ward and James Child will be on row 8 ahead of Darrell Taylor and Phil Jocelyn. And Alan Patterson didn't qualify, but he did practice. I saw him quite late on, so I wonder whether he'll race. Can't see him on the grid for the moment, but hopefully he will race. There is Darrell Taylor's new livery, by the way. I'm not sure if we've actually seen it on the road, but there is Darrell Taylor. He's decidedly less spottable for us, which is a shame.
Yeah, I don't like it. I thought it was a mistake, and I refreshed trading paints about 3 or 4 times, and I still ended up with a black car. So, we'll have to go with it. We'll just have to try and pick him out now. He's the all-black machine, one of the very few on the grid, with obviously Jamie Bird, I think, as the other one with a black car. I don't think anybody else has. I think everybody else is in a fairly bright one. So, but there we go. We just wait for Clark Williams. Whether or not Alan Patterson is going to get onto the grid, well, we will find out very, very shortly once Clark Williams does. But yeah, looking forward to this one. Be careful, it's going to get excited, boys. So let's have a good one.
Yeah, Williams making his way for a little while. Doesn't look like Alan Patterson will be joining us for this opening race, so it will be 18 drivers for race 1 here at Mosport, the penultimate round of the championship. Who gets a good start off the front row? It's Edwards who draws alongside, but the first corner goes to the right, and Luke Maxwell will have the inside line throughout, and he'll take the lead. Then it's Graham Brown behind Edwards, with George Gonzaga making up a place to get to 4th. Side by side, and Graham Brown's off the road. He's into the grass, and just
Phil
about
Glover
saves it. Phil Glover hasn't quite, though. He's off in the background. He's into the wall very nearly. The longer grass will just about save him from that. But it's a good start for George Gonzaga. He's got up into 3rd place as a result of this. But Maxwell converts his pole position to a early race lead.
Yeah, it wasn't good. He got off the start really, really well. In that second phase, he really come to light. He was a bit slow getting off in the first phase, but in that second phase, he really did hook it up. Now, for George Gonzaga, he's got to try and get hold of Simon Edwards there. Looks like James McRitchie and Jamie Bird might have had a moment. Here we go now with Gonzaga. Pull out on the left-hand side. This outside line was so good last season. If he can hook it up, he can run it all the way round there. He's just got to have a little bit more bravery. He come back the other week, and when we spoke to George, and he was literally loving it. Paul LeMay, Mike Bousson side by side going into the last corner as well. Dela Cruz now popping his nose onto the left-hand side. He's going to have the inside for turn 1, backed out though, so he didn't quite run it through there. But James McRitchie is in the pit, so this is what happened to James. I've got a funny feeling that it may be a tap from Jamie Bird. Oh no, he gets it all wrong into Jamie Bird, back into the middle of the road. So a tough one for James McRitchie there, but Luke Maxwell out in front by 1.4 seconds.
And he's going to continue to be quite a long way ahead of the rest of the field now because of Simon Edwards and his defence now of this second position. Such an important job for Simon Edwards to do right now, stay in second. But by the way, Luke Maxwell can't win the championship here today. He can only make his life a bit easier at Knock Hill, and that's exactly what he's doing right now. Simon Edwards, by contrast, can win the championship today, but things will need to go very, very well for him, and so far they're not. Whoa, that was close. That was very, very close. George Gonzaga tried to find the space on the inside. In the end, the door was shut, and that could have been a whole lot worse for the 5-time champion.
Yeah, I tell you what, if that was a late move, then that was very, very late from Edwards. I can tell you that much, because the gap was there, and Gonzaga had a right to go for it. But this is the George we've wanted to see. This is the one, the battling, tough man who's going to go and give it some from Portugal. He's going to go and have a go at Simon Edwards. It don't matter if you're fighting for a championship, son. George is coming and he wants a piece. We've got Bousson and Paul LeMay scrapping it out further down. Then we've got Dela Cruz and a long list of cars of Barry, Clark, Brown, LeMay, Ward, Michael LeMay that is, Martina Ward, James Child and everybody else. But this is where it's going to be. If George is going to be able to do it, he's got to try and get him on this straight and run that outside line. Don't be afraid to do it, because if you keep your foot in, as we saw last time out when we were here, it works every single time. You've just got to be a little bit brave.
How can you get past Simon Edwards though when he's got straight line speed like this? It does seem like George Gonzaga is matching him though, and to the outside he'll go around the third last corner. This is the right-hander at turn 8. He's going to go for this. Right round the outside. He'll attempt. He'll have the inside for turn 9. It'll be... Oh no, there's contact. Simon Edwards is off the road and into the barrier as well. He'll surely have damage. Big drama now for the championship, as Simon Edwards is going to get freight tried by everybody else as well. Luke Maxwell leads this race another fastest lap to add insult to injury for Simon Edwards, who's into the wall, and he's way back to 6th place.
Oh man, was there contact? He can't. No, he's losing it on all his own. He never touched him. That was all Edwards on his own. George never touched him at all, which for us as people, we instantly thought there was going to be contact. And George Gonzaga never touched him. He literally was still on that inside. Simon spun it up all on his own. And yes, Jamie Dengle, these Radicals are a little tricky car. But I tell you what, this is some of the best of the best on these cars, mate. And these are absolute stunning racing. But for George Gonzaga, he's innocent. Innocent.
It looks like it. It was very close.
Yeah.
But it does look like Simon Edwards lost it on his own. James Barry now is going to be overtaken by Edwards, is he? It looks like it. Into the top 5 goes Edwards. Yes, he's on the inside. Oh, Barry comes back at him. No. Into the final turn. So Edwards must have gone round the outside through the first part, and he had more than his nose alongside. By the second, he had his whole car in front, I think. But he's into 5th place again now, and he's on a recovery drive. As things stand, he's losing a whopping 9 points to Luke Maxwell in this race alone, which is a complete disaster. He will start in front of Luke Maxwell, of course, in this next race, but that won't matter to Edwards much right now. It's the points that he's losing that really matters to him.
And he's got 2.6 seconds to LeMay, Bousson and Gonzaga and Maxwell. He's got further to Maxwell, but he's got 2.6 to Paul LeMay, who is scrapping it out with Mike Bousson. These guys need to decide what they're going to do. Get on your bike, get away. Keep that gap open. Simon Edwards can still be put under pressure from James Barry. He's got the draft to help him out here. You can see they're actually extending down that back straight due to the fact that they are running in the draft line. Gonzaga's pulling Bousson. Bousson's pulling LeMay. Bousson goes in a little bit, probably a little bit deeper than he wanted to there. And Gonzaga and Bousson and LeMay have survived. But their fighting is bringing him down to 2.3. They're only extending on the Andretti straight. Further down, we got Martina Ward, who's trying. Oh, Martina up the inside of Clark Williams, gets a little bit of a snap on that car and doesn't make it through. But for Simon Edwards, somehow he's got to find 2.5 seconds now, and he's only got 6 laps to do it. It's going to be a tough one, Ewan.
Well, it's never quite simple in the Radical Race Series, is it? I came into tonight thinking, well, Edwards might take a couple of points back, or Luke Maxwell might extend his advantage by 1 or whatever, but it won't matter too much. It will all come down to the finale next week. Not so much. It is drama from the second last round even. Luke Maxwell laying the foundations for a second Radical Race Series title here tonight. That was very, very wide from Sergio De La Cruz, and Paul Clark will be very close behind. So will Michael LeMay as they make their way down in the second group. James Barry and Simon Edwards might be quite pleased about that because they can start to work together just a little bit. It's side by side for second as well as Mike Bousson tries to take that place away from George Gonzaga, and does, round the outside through turn 8, and he has the place. So they're not working together, and why would they? Because they haven't got any interest in this championship. They're just fighting for second place, but what it is doing is allowing Simon Edwards to catch up a little bit. Now 2.3 seconds. He's still a long way back though, considering we're only just over the halfway mark of this race.
Yeah, and the problem is he's still under pressure from Barry. Barry's only half a second back using that draft. They're coming around that turn 2, 3 now into turn 3. They're going to be on the brakes here. I don't think this is going to be done from Gonzaga either. I think he's going to still come back at him. But now LeMay's coming in. It's just about 2 seconds. But if you watch on the straight, when these guys close up here, that gap extends to Edwards. You can see now 1.9, 1.8. Let's see, it should be give or take round about 2.2. I would have roughly thought by the time they get on, because Edwards hasn't got the drive from anybody. These guys are using each other to pull each other forward. You can see now it's up nearly at 2.1. Now they're going to go again. 2.1. Is it going to be the 2.2 I predicted? Yep, there you go. 2.2. Job done. Gonzaga now swapping back, but they're not slowing each other down with the swaps there, Ewan. Gonzaga got through early, Bousson got through early, and LeMay's just sat there. So for Edwards, he can't really get there because they're not really losing massive amounts of time, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, it doesn't help that Edwards is not getting assistance himself, and it doesn't help that Gonzaga and Bousson, while they are battling, their battles right now are basically constituting helping each other, because they're not actually going side by side anywhere. They're just slipstreaming past one another on the back straight. And even though they are not intending it, I don't think, they are working together, or at least it will appear like that on the timing screens. And it certainly appears like that to Simon Edwards. Now that neither of them, as I said, have any skin in the game, if you like, with regards to this championship. They're not really bothered whether it's Luke Maxwell or Simon Edwards, I wouldn't imagine. They're just trying to get their own podiums and their own best result out of this race. But right now, it's not helping Simon Edwards at all. we're riding on board with Mike Bousson now as he tries to reel in George Gonzaga just up in front, and he certainly does right at the very end of the straight. He'll pull to the inside this time. It's not round the outside where we've seen so much success. Gonzaga squeezes him a lot there, and Paul LeMay tried to go around the outside himself but couldn't quite do it. Will Bousson look at the inside of the final turn? The answer to that is a resounding no, and they'll remain in the same positions for the first time in a while.
Yeah, they literally just stay where they are, but you saw the time go back out to Edwards. It goes to about 1.8, 1.9, and then they jump on to the straight, and it's gone again. 2.2, 2.3. Phil Glover's battling away with Darrell Taylor further down. This was in 13th and 14th. At one point, they were side by side. I just don't know if Phil's absolutely loving this track at the moment. Dela Cruz has got the other LeMay, Michael LeMay, there in the traditional red, white, blue livery of the two brothers racing team. He's still battling away with Sergio Dela Cruz. Dela Cruz had a great early pace, but it's kind of slipped off a little bit towards the middle of the race. Now we're on to lap 9. You can see now we're down to 1.5. It's probably going to be about 1.8 maybe by the time they get to the end of the straight, because as you say, they're not slowing each other down, they're just drafting each other. 1.6, there you go, he's kicking up now. 1.7, is it going to hit the 1.8? It is. So he loses nearly half a second by the time they get to the end of the straight.
That was quite close between the three of them on towards turn 8. Whoa! Bousson really flung it into the penultimate turn. I'm not sure whether Gonzaga was scared or whether he just missed the apex himself, but he certainly went wide. And now Paul LeMay is going to have a chance into turn 1. He has a brief look, but no. I think Simon Edwards is just going to run out of laps. It's going to be so frustrating for him. 3 laps to go, including the one they're on at the moment. I think by Moss Corner, the gap will be less than a second, but it won't matter too much. Can he get to second here? Can he revive this race somehow and gain some more points? The position in front of him, or in fact, all the positions in front of him are 2 points each. There's a possible 6 on the line here for Simon Edwards.
I don't know if he can. I really don't know. It's 8 tenths at the moment, probably 1.2 by the time they get to the end of the straight. Gonzaga's getting a little bit slippery though. He nearly lost a lot of time coming out of Moss. That's going to bring Bousson right up here. But coming up now, he literally can pull out at any point. Wait till you get round. There he goes. Wait till he gets round. Lown LeMay, don't send it 3 wide. Paul LeMay's got nowhere to go at the moment. It's now nearly 8 tenths. We're going to be coming on to lap 11. They're going to have one more after this one to go. Edwards in the fray, but I just don't know if he's going to be able to. It depends here as well what Bousson and Gonzaga do. Now Edwards is right in it. He wasn't as the time has gone on. Gonzaga defending the inside. Oh, no!
Contact! Contact, and Gonzaga's off the road. That's 1 place for Simon Edwards already. It just leaves him with 1 place to gain on each lap now. And surely now it's looking a little bit more possible for Simon Edwards to regain this second position. In towards the right-hander they go at turn 3. What drama that was. Mike Bousson now is struggling. I wonder whether he's picked up a little bit of damage. He certainly made contact, I reckon, with George Gonzaga on the way down towards turn 1 there, which saw Gonzaga straight into the wall and straight back to pit lane, unfortunately, as well. Out of Moss Corner they go. Simon Edwards with a much better run here, and surely he's going to have the place over Mike Bousson as well. It's going to be a run round the outside, you'd imagine. He needs to get it though. He's on the penultimate lap, of course, as they all are, lap 11, and he needs to get this. He will be down the inside instead, in fact, and it will be now 3rd place for Simon Edwards, now losing 5 points to Maxwell in the race, but there's still a couple more he can gain with Paul LeMay, who's still in 2nd place in front.
And he can still lose some. Bousson's gone in again. He's slipped in behind him this time. It's now going to be Edwards and Bousson down that back straight, I think, as well. That was such a shame for Gonzaga. He was doing such a stellar job. Bousson ran a little bit wide out of turn 1. That's dropped him back as well to nearly half a second now. So he's got to try and close in as much as he can coming onto this Andretti straight. If he doesn't, then he ain't going to get him. But the thing is, he's got to be brave here, Ewan, as they're coming round now. Turn 4, dropping down the hill to the left-hander. Fast left-hander, uphill braking into 5. Want to be careful, just make sure you can get round the corner. There you go, hook it up, roll it in, get on the throttle now, start going with your power. This is where Bousson's got his opportunity here as Maxwell comes nearly into turn 8.
Yeah, he'll be on his way to a victory very soon. I think Mike Bousson has gotten into the head of Simon Edwards far too much here, or at least for Edwards' liking, and he's going to haunt him and get him out of a second place. Meanwhile, Luke Maxwell is going to take a big victory in a big step forward towards the championship. It's Luke Maxwell who wins race 1 at Mosport, and who's going to finish second behind it will be Paul LeMay. Simon Edwards will get onto the podium just about and see that championship margin grow to 9 points going into the final 3 races of the season. The championship all of a sudden tipping in favour of Luke Maxwell.
Yeah, it is, and Maxwell's gone out and done an authoritative figure here as well. It may also might have paid Edwards to be further up than where he is. He's going to be in front of Maxwell on that grid, let's not forget. So Maxwell will be in 10th, but Edwards will be in 8th. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see that getaway, Ewan, to see who can get it off the line going into race 2. But here's the results from race 1.
It was Luke Maxwell who wins by 7.6 seconds out of Paul LeMay, Simon Edwards and Mike Bousson, who almost came over the line together, with James Barry not even that far away, actually. Paul Clark just missed out on a top 5 with Sergio De La Cruz with him. James Child and Michael LeMay battled for 8th to the end with Martina Ward on reverse grid pole. Bill Jocelyn makes his way up to 11th out of Clark Williams, then Darrell Taylor and Jamie Bird, the final drivers to finish on the lead lap. George Gonzaga and Phil Glover were 1 lap down, with Graham Brown good 6 laps down. James Ritchie crashing on the opening lap, which has put him to the back of the field for the second race, and Alan Patterson never took the start. So a big moment in the championship, I think it's fair to say, and also I'm afraid it is a bad one for John McCutcheon here as well. If Luke Maxwell finishes, inside the top 10 actually from this second race, then John McCutcheon is out of the championship for sure. And that is a real shame for as far as he is concerned, because he's not even here to defend himself tonight.
Shame. It is a shame here. It is a shame. And I would have loved to have seen John here. We know what he battles like. We know what he goes like. He's just going to have to, unfortunately, go with what he can do here. It's going to be very, very tough for John to do anything else. I don't think he can. I think he's cementing that 3rd place, to be fair. And that's basically about all it's going to be able to do. So, yeah, it is what it is. But onwards and upwards we go, dear sir.
Well, it's going to have to be onwards and upwards for John McCutcheon, I'm afraid, because it's not going to be a 4th championship for him here tonight, or well, definitely not tonight, or indeed this season, in fact. Graham Brown just messaging in the Discord, by the way, that he wasn't really prepared for running in the dirty air, and so, yeah, unfortunately, he's gone to the very back, pretty much, of the field after what I've got to say it was a really fantastic qualifying performance from him here tonight. It's not really been converted into race prowess so far. Yeah, that's a mistake at the start of race 1 has really put paid to his day. In race 2, though, it's going to be Martina Ward taking the pole position here. Michael LeMay alongside her with James Child and Sergio De La Cruz on row 2. Paul Clark and James Barry on row 3 ahead of Mike Bousson and Simon Edwards, who really ideally needs to win here. Paul LeMay and then not James but Ritchie. That's a bit of a mistake. Luke Maxwell will be in 10th place. Then it will be Phil Justin and the rest of them. Clark Williams will be with him on row 6. Then it will be Darrell Taylor and Jamie Bird, George Gonzaga and Phil Glover, followed by Graham Brown and James Ritchie. With Alan Patterson, I would be very surprised to see him on the start here for this one. Let's see then. Race 2 at Mosport. We've just 3 rounds to go in Season 4 of 2023. We are underway, and it's a good start from Martina Ward, who will hold on to that 1st place in towards Turn 1. Round the outside goes James Barry here, as he goes into the top 5 already. Good start from him. Right in front of Simon Edwards, who looks to which way to go. There's a crash in the background, unfortunately, for a couple of the contenders at the back of the field. But it's side by side into Turn 3 for Simon Edwards. He's on the outside now of Mike Bousson. He does brake later. He goes around the outside and he'll have the place as well, you'd imagine. But no, Boosson fights back on the inside again, and Edwards hasn't got anywhere. He's still in 8th place.
Yeah, we've still got Maxwell. Maxwell's up 1 in 9th. This is going to be the run. Dela Cruz and James Barry trying to go around Moss side by side. They've got 20 laps in this one, let's not forget. 20 laps to try and get past and deal with on this one. But it's now going to be what this man is going to be able to do. Is he going to be able to bring it up here? Can Luke Maxwell do what he's done all the evening so far? Take it to the people in front. Dela Cruz there's just lost a place to James Barry. He's trying to make his way up. We've got Paul Clark fighting with Michael LeMay. We've got Bousson scrapping with Edwards. It's all the way through the field at the moment here, Ewan, and it's literally basically nothing from top to bottom. You've got 4.6 seconds all the way down into 15th here, and most importantly, these two are not going anywhere apart from Maxwell up 1, who took Paul LeMay off the line.
Yeah, there's not been any overtakes after that. It's been very, very difficult. Oh, and Simon Edwards has made it more difficult there as he goes wide out of turn 2. Luke Maxwell looks to the outside of the next turn, and he'll have the cut back again. Will he have the inside run for Moss Corner? It would be brave to see him go down the inside there, especially in a race where he doesn't especially need to go on the offensive, just defend the position that he has. But if he can finish ahead of Simon Edwards, then what a statement that would be. Going into Knockhill for the final round. Over the curbs they go at Moss Corner, up towards the back straight they'll go, and now Simon Edwards begins to motor. He'll be on the outside of Mike Bousson. Will he be able to finally make this move stick? It's going to be neck and neck between the two, because as he ducks out, he gets no slipstream, while Bousson gets that of those in front of him. Side by side they go through turn 8. Very close again into 9, where Edwards came unstuck in the first race, but that was on the outside. This time on the inside he prevails, and James Barry's got off the road. A free position for everybody. Paul Clark gets a bit loose as well. Here goes Luke Maxwell down the inside as he tries to follow Simon Edwards, but he can't. He goes for it. Wow, that was close. Maxwell can't do it. He'll be on the outside for turn 2 now as Paul Clark begins to defend again. Round the outside for Luke Maxwell, needs to make sure this doesn't go wrong, and it doesn't. It's very well executed. He ducks around Mike Bousson, but Luke Maxwell makes up another place. Into 6th he goes now, 3 positions in a matter of corners.
Oh, absolutely stellar from Luke Maxwell there as well. I've got a funny feeling Barry and Clark may have had contact, but I tell you what, that could have been scary for Maxwell coming out and seeing literally James Barry and Paul Clark recovering, because he managed it well, and he did manage it well. He managed to get past Paul Clark. He managed to get past Mike Bousson. Now Bousson's coming back at him on the right hand side. Bousson in the orange, Maxwell in that infamous yellow and black. Now we've got Clark trying to push up as well. Is he going to have a go at Bousson? Bousson slotted back in round turn 8. Now they come round 9. It's still Maxwell, it's still Bousson, it's still Clark, and it's still LeMay. It's actually LeMay Clark, sorry. Look at the roll bars, and now it's Maxwell trying to get hold of Edwards. As long as he finishes within a couple of places of Edwards, he'll negate Edwards anyway because of the first win. So for Maxwell, as long as he moves up 2 places almost within Edwards, he'll minimise that loss from race 1, from the gain that he got from race 1. He'll minimise the loss in race 2.
Well, right now he'd still have 8 points. Ahead of Edwards. So, although saying that, that's not quite true actually, because if Edwards finishes outside the top 4, then this would bizarrely become a drop round. That's how good his season's been. Simon Edwards would have a drop round if things were to stay as they are, and so the gap would actually be 6 points. In which case, it's maybe not so good for Maxwell. But that's the problem that Luke Maxwell has got, is that it's quite difficult to gain points on someone who's got such a good safety net. As we go on board right now with Paul LeMay, he's gone past Clark. Now he's ahead of Bousson as well to get a bit of separation between those 2 identical liveries. Well, they're not identical, but they nearly are. And Luke Maxwell will hold them both back. Luke, I can't get his name. Paul LeMay will get ahead of Mike Bousson. I can't say names today. Then it's Paul Clark just behind Bousson as well. But it's all very close from Maxwell down to Glover. There's 9 drivers there who are all slipstreaming off of one another.
Yeah, it is. It's been very, very close. It's quite interesting actually, because Martina Ward and Michael LeMay have escaped. They've escaped by 1.3 seconds over Gonzaga, who who in turn has got quite a bit of time before Edwards gets there. So it's going to be, if these two can carry on working together, Ward and LeMay, they might make it more difficult for Edwards and Maxwell to come through and take the win. So they've got to play it a little bit clever as the two up front, because what I would want to be doing is running. I would be running like a hare being chased by a fox, I would say, and literally just go full bore, let Martina run her line. If she's not slowing you down, don't worry about it. You're both breaking into the 112s. You're both breaking into near enough roundabout where Edwards and Maxwell are. As you can saw, Michael LeMay get it a little bit slidey, and then Martina Ward near enough did the same. But they're running practically the same pace as Simon Edwards. So I wouldn't kind of overdo it if I was them two. Just stay where you are. Follow each other. You're getting there.
Yeah, I think I'd stay single file as well, but it's pretty difficult when you're in the situation of Michael LeMay there. He saw Martina Ward have a bit of a slide in front of him, and you don't know what to do in that situation. I don't think he was close enough to make a move into turn one anyway, actually, but even so, it's a difficult conundrum to find yourself with, and now the fact that LeMay is so close is going to get into Martina Ward's head, you'd imagine. She'll start defending slightly. You can just see ever so slightly defensive lines being taken. Nothing major, but just a little bit of something, and that's going to decrease lap time here. It's going to allow everybody to catch up. Surely we're not going to have a whole train of a field, but it looks like that from that camera shot that we are going to have one here. LeMay will get closer again to Martina Ward. Will he go for the move, though? He will! Down the inside he'll go as Simon Edwards goes to the outside. No for LeMay. That door is closed, but yes for Edwards. Round the outside he goes to turn 8, and that was a pretty nice move in the end. He dives deep into turn 9 to make absolutely sure, and James Child has no answer. Or does he? It's a cutback through the final turn, and no. Simon Edwards gets up into 4th place now and puts the car between himself and Luke Maxwell, at least for now.
Yeah, but they've literally slowed themselves down to the point of where Maxwell's pulled in near enough half a second here as they're coming round turn 2 on that run into 3. Maxwell's pulled in about half a second. He's now picking up the draft where he wasn't over that last lap. So although yes, Edwards has got past, no, not an ideal scenario, because Maxwell was now grabbing the draft from Child in front, which as we know is only going to pull him forward. If he works with Child and battles his way up uses Edwards in front, who is literally just there, there's no reason Maxwell can't give Edwards a good old fight coming towards the end of this race. These two up front, though, they've got to decide what they're doing. If Michael LeMay is going to go for it, it's got to be definitive. He did it almost half-heart on that last lap. You can't do that when you've got the likes of Maxwell and Edwards closing you down. You can see Maxwell's pulled out to the right-hand side. Paul LeMay does manage to hold on to it there. What about Luke Maxwell? He's pressurising Child. He wants that inside into 9. Just manages to hold it there. I thought Child was going to close the door on him there as well. But it's a great battling. Even Gonzaga and Jocelyn and Glover are scrapping it out. The two Phils and George down here are also scrapping it out once more. And now Maxwell is definitely closer to Child to have a go. And Child is still closer to Edwards to be able to give him that draft. So Maxwell's on for it here. He's just got to pick them off slowly, Ewan. Be patient. One after the other. He's still got 12 laps and he's got pace for days. We know that. He won the first race by 7 seconds. They're on that run from 4 now, down up into Moss again. Let's see how this goes up on the Andretti.
Oh, it's a long line now. Six cars in a line. Luke Maxwell gave it it's off the road in the background. It's Paul LeMay, and Booston and Clark will go through as a result, but Luke Maxwell is very, very close to the back of James Child now. Surely this is going to be the move. He's been taking some risks so far today, I've got to say. Luke Maxwell, he's obviously taken the first race win of the day by not having to overtake anyone, but this time he certainly has had to, and he's had to take a few risks in doing so. Round the outside of the 8th turn he goes again. He'll have the inside for 9, which is going to be very important, but no, he still can't get the place. James Child will hang on again into the final corner, and does so. Maxwell's run off the final turn was nowhere near good enough as the battle for the lead really commences. Michael LeMay is trying to take that place away from Martina Ward, but can't. And Ward is still defending very well. Still not overtaken here. 9 laps into this one. We're not even halfway just yet. And we have no idea who's going to win this race.
No, I wouldn't even like to hazard a guess there. The problem is for Paul LeMay, he's not being decisive with his moves. I've met Michael in real life. He needs to be decisive. He needs to go and take it and bully LeMay. Because, Edwards is off!
Edwards is off.
He's off on the thing.
Edwards is off the road. And he's back on again, but behind Luke Maxwell. And most of that hard work has been undone. Oh, my goodness me. There's another twist in this tale. Luke Maxwell is going to be ahead of the both of them, but who's even going to come out the other side here ahead? Is it going to be Edwards or Booston? It's going to be Simon Edwards, but that was an unforced error for what it looked like there. Just off the road for Simon Edwards, and now he's down to 6th place.
Yeah, Edwards made a mistake in Moss there as well, and unfortunately for him, I think he just ran in deep and he caught the gravel at the top. He catches it up there, he does go in deep, doesn't stop the car, over the gravel he goes. Here comes everybody else. I am surprised Bousson didn't get him there. I thought Bousson might have carried a lot more speed, but he didn't, and unfortunately now he's put Edwards down here chasing Luke Maxwell. Luke is, I tell you what, right, he is doing a stellar job. He's not rushed any of his moves. But I can guarantee you now there's going to be moves done from Luke. He's going to look at Child, he's going to look at Dela Cruz. He knows Edwards is behind him, and he's now going to battle him here as well. He needs to stay with Child. That's the important thing. Don't lose that draft as Dela Cruz gets the big old slide on. Is that going to be a free position for Luke Maxwell as well? It looks like it is, but it's going to help him keep that draft away here, Ewan, as they're coming up the Andretti. Maxwell on the left. Edwards wants to try and get involved as well. He's going to try and bully Luke off that inside line going into 10. Luke says no. He blocks him off there coming into 8. He knew he wasn't going to get Dela Cruz, and he definitely made sure he wasn't leaving that door open to to Simon Edwards behind.
And in the end, nobody overtakes anyone else. Somewhat remarkably, into turn 1 they'll go again. Dela Cruz with a big job of defending on his hands right now. Luke Maxwell right behind. Then it's Simon Edwards. Maxwell looks to the outside of turn 2. That's not going to happen. We ride on board now with Dela Cruz, who's looking behind Maxwell, and then Edwards just behind a bit further.
Oh, he's
Dela
got
Cruz
indeed.
enters a bit wider into turn 3, but he's gone wide. And here goes Luke Maxwell. It will be the inside for Moss Corner if he can stay there, because it's round the outside of turn 4 first. A difficult place to do it, and he's very nearly off the road. Through the middle, very nearly goes Simon Edwards. He can't quite get there. Maxwell still down the inside, and Dela Cruz helps them all by going off the road himself, and Mike Bousson's going to go through as well.
Yeah, Bousson's gained a position, so has Edwards there. Dela Cruz, the curb on outside. Now this is it. We have Gladiator 1 on the left, Gladiator 2 on the right. Maxwell just gets Simon Edwards. Simon Edwards goes through. I don't know if Maxwell lifted, but they've got 1.5 seconds to try and get to Child. And every single lap that goes by here for Luke Maxwell, he's just got to stay with Simon Edwards. He used a draft going up the Andretti. He's got 9 laps to do it. Don't get it wrong, because you've done such a stellar job in race 1. You don't want to chuff it and throw it all away in race 2. He's got to try and stay with him, but do it sensibly and make sure he stays on that track. He cannot take unnecessary risks as they go on that run from 2 down into the right-hander of 3.
Well, it's still Simon Edwards now back at the front, and by the way, with that pass, Simon Edwards will reduce the championship margin to 7 points as they run right now. 7 points would be the advantage that Luke Maxwell holds going into the final race. Don't forget that Simon Edwards, it doesn't really matter if he finishes lower than 4th, because or if he finishes lower than 4th, because his drop week is strong enough to allow him to get the points from a 4th place, the equivalent of a 4th place finish in this race, if you see what I mean. So it won't actually matter if he finishes lower than that, although it will matter for keeping Luke Maxwell away from the points. That's exactly what that last pass did, for example. It just took 2 off Maxwell, even if it didn't add any to Simon Edwards' score from what he's going to have at the moment. Edwards now closing on James Child, who I feel like has been overtaken about 5 times, but he's still third, and I'm not entirely sure how, but he is. He's on the podium currently. He's losing out to the front 2, though, who have got a bit of a gap now.
Yeah, they've got 7 laps, LeMay and Ward up front. Big puff of smoke there. You can see Michael LeMay looks like he's almost chomping at the bit here. Is one of these guys going to take their first ever victory this season? I cannot remember them taking any other victory at all this season, but I tell you what, Michael LeMay, you've got to find your inner lion, son, as you're coming down 4 and into 5. You've got to pick them up and stick them in your pocket and be a little bit brave coming round 8, because I can tell you what, the people behind, they're going to be definitive. They're going to go up, they're going to make their moves, and if you're going to do it, Mr. Michael LeMay, and I hope you do, maybe even take your victory in the first one over Martina Ward, he's got to be brave here, Ewan. He's got to give it some round that outside. Go. Now just put it on there. Don't be afraid. Run it all the way in. Get it all the way in. Get it stuck coming into 9. He's now just got to send it up the inside. He didn't do it again. Now he's going to be under pressure from Child. Edwards has almost lost the notes. Now Maxwell's trying to come through as well here as they're coming down into turn 1 again. And that stem from Michael LeMay not being definitive. Backed everybody else up. He's got to go for it. Go round the outside and send it in deep in 9. Cover that inside up, because I can tell you what, Edwards, Maxwell and Buson will do exactly just what he isn't. And that's the problem. If they want to get their first victory, he's got to be definitive on 8.
Well, LeMay did all right through the first part there, but the problem is also that 2 can play that game, and round turn 9, Martina Ward threw it in very deep, and even if LeMay was a bit more brave, I'm not sure he would have had the place anyway, actually, because Ward sent it right through the corner. Now, that becomes a problem for Michael LeMay, really. You begin to wonder, where is he going to be able to make this move, if at all, and what's going to happen behind? James Charles now very involved in this, and he wants 2nd place as he charges for a top 10 in this championship this season. Outside line of turn 8 he'll have now. He's not very far alongside, but he sent it in and keeps it a bit tighter to Michael LeMay, who can't quite squeeze him. There's contact, and LeMay will go wide. Simon Edwards goes straight through. Luke Maxwell's on the outside now through the final turn. Can he get through? No. And Mike Buson might take advantage here. No, he can't either. He can't find any space to do it. Side by side they'll go. Round the outside for Luke Maxwell, who's run out to room. And here goes Mike Buson. All of a sudden it changes again. And round 2 they go. Buson goes wide. Maxwell at least doesn't lose any places, but he can't follow Simon Edwards through.
No, and that again stemmed from Michael LeMay not being brave. He tried the same thing as Child every single lap, and he didn't do it. Child did it to him and opened up the corner for 9 and still managed to get through, and then he just bullied him out a little bit, and he got it all a little bit wrong. Now Buson's going to be under pressure because he's got Paul Clark coming at him, and he's trying to go forward over Maxwell at the same time. Maxwell needs to pick up the LeMay draft. Hug that inside line. Make him go round the outside, but you've got to be brave coming into 8. Here they go again. Is Buson going to be brave? He's not brave enough to try and run it round the outside, and Edwards didn't get Child either. So at the moment, Martina Ward still out in front. 5 laps to go. Can she take her first ever victory here as well? And let's not forget, it's not even her full season. This is like her 5th race of the year. She's out in front by 8 tenths. Just keep it on track. Do what you've got to do and you'll get it done. But I can tell you one thing, when there's only 3 seconds across the top 9, this is going to be a nervy 4 laps here for everyone, because they all want to try and get through. As you can see, Buson just overcooking it a little bit coming into 3.
I think Edwards might well still win this. He's still looking very menacing, and Luke Maxwell could yet win it yet as well. He's on the back of Michael LeMay into Moss corner, but it won't go through. The fact that Edwards has got a car between himself and Maxwell has really helped. And Mike Buson is a bit of an unofficial teammate right now as well, even if he doesn't know it, because he's really hounding Maxwell. And also the fact that we've got 9 cars still in contention for this race win is quite bonkers as well. Here goes Simon Edwards. Surely this is going to be a move for 2nd place now. Outside line of turn 8, he's going to roar past, right straight through into the 8th turn of this racetrack, and into 2nd place he goes. And Luke Maxwell's still stuck. In fact, he's another position further back now. Mike Buson has gone through, and Luke Maxwell all of a sudden is seeing a great championship position dissolve in front of his eyes. Right now, he's going to lose 10 points. Would you believe it? He's going to lose his championship lead as things stand.
I tell you what, for Maxwell now he's running out of time. He's been Mr. Iceman all the way through this, but I can guarantee in that car, that water is boiling. Buson's gone in a little bit hard. He's gone off into the Shadow Realm. Buson's got the part in the next Stranger Things series. He's off. He's gone into the Upside Down, and he's lost a bunch of positions. That's going to release Luke Maxwell once more, as he's now coming onto the back of Michael LeMay. He's got to define Michael LeMay. He knows he can do this. He knows he can get past him. And for Michael LeMay, he's got to defend like a lion. And the problem is for LeMay, he didn't do it on the time he did it. And this is where he finds himself. He finds himself out of the lead, off the podium, now finding it out in fourth. Now for Luke Maxwell, Jamie Bird is trying to have a go at Paul Clark here, round the outside of 8. This is what Michael should have done. Sent it up the inside of 9, then got in deep into 10 and run round the outside. Exactly what Bird is going to do, and try and get him off that line. The problem is for Bird, he's got Paul Clark, and he ain't the most easiest one here as well. Simon Edwards now 7 attempts back. Luke Maxwell still can't get past Michael LeMay, which is he needs to here, Ewan, as we're coming into the final 2 laps. Can Martina Ward take her first victory in his team's in? Good evening, Paul. I've seen you there as well. Paul LeMay's had wrist hurt pain, so he's pulled over and knocked it on the head for the tonight. But I can guarantee he's probably cheering on his brother here, who tries and needs to get James Child, but he's got to be definitive about it, because he wasn't in this first half.
Well, I think he's going to have more of a problem defending from Luke Maxwell here, who has regained his championship lead with that pass on Mike Boson. I don't know if there was contact into turn 2. I don't think there was, but Boson was certainly looking in his mirrors and certainly outbroke himself into that third turn. Excuse me, not turn 2. It was turn 3, in fact. And Luke Maxwell has restored a 1-point championship lead. Further in front, Michael LeMay tried to go through there, I think, on James Child. No, he didn't get alongside, I don't think, there. And it would have been a little bit silly to go for it from that distance at turn 8. 2 laps to go as they go over the line. Martina Ward now needs to hang on from Simon Edwards, who is right behind her. 2 laps to defend it for Martina Ward, who's led 18 out of 18 so far, but there's still 2 more to go.
He's just, I wouldn't mind, but Edwards pulled out half a second on her as well. This is going to be a tall order. I tell you what, for Martina Ward, she needs them IRL MX5 skills now. She has got to decide, what do I do here? Do I really, really want this win? Do I really want to get involved in this championship? I've only been at 4 races. Do I really want to hold this up? What am I going to do? What is she going to do? Now for Martina Ward, it's a big old moment. Does she go to that inside line and allow Edwards to run around the outside? Well, she's got to make a decision, because I can tell you what, if she makes contact, she's going to be kicking herself. Defend. She's on that defense. I think Edwards is already going to get her, though, but the time they come into 8, going deep. It's got in deep with him. Now put it up the outside of 9 as well if you can. Slot in behind. Get the cut back out of 10. He's gone in deep. Cut it back out of 10. Come off the start line and away you go. Now Martina Ward has got the opportunity. Maxwell trying to get through in the background. I don't know if he made it. Oh, Jamie Bird and Michael LeMay.
Contact. Oh, goodness, huge crash in the background. I don't think it really involved Luke Maxwell, who dived down the inside of the final turn, and he did pass Michael LeMay. And then, he muscled his way through, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that particularly. Then there was this. Big contact with himself, and I think James Child does that maybe, and then collected behind was Paul Clark in a huge 3-car smash on the final lap. But Simon Edwards has taken the lead. Has he taken it just a little bit too early, though? Is Martina Ward close enough?
Final lap.
I don't know. Edwards has gone quite wide there through Moss Corner, and Ward might be close enough. I'm not entirely sure, though. The gap is half a second. Simon Edwards will be weaving around trying to deny the slipstream for all he's worth at the moment, just trying to desperately take that race win. At the end of today, it looks like he might well do it. Surely not. He's going to take a championship lead into the final round after looking in pretty desperate situations earlier on in the day. Simon Edwards is going to win at Mosport, and what an important win that is as well, as the 5-time champion. puts himself as the championship leader going into the final round of the season.
Oh, and you have to give Martina Ward props. She literally led for 18 of the 20 and just missed out on the victory. George Gonzaga comes down to the line as well. I just want to have a look at this run from Gonzaga to Barry, because they were practically side by side here as they're going round 8 now. I think Barry just missed out here on Gonzaga going into turn 10. They were literally nose to tail all the way here, Barry on Gonzaga. You can see it there. Now Barry tries that cutback. He's going to miss out by literally not a lot. There you go. That was that run there as well, but you've got to feel for this young lady. She did a stellar job at Mr. O'Leary. Led for 18 of the 20 laps and just couldn't quite wrap it up there. Gutted. But well done, Simon Edwards. He did what he needed to do in the championship, and Maxwell got 4th. So yeah, great job from everybody. But yeah, I thought Ward was going to do it there. I really did.
It was very, very close, but Simon Edwards takes the win by 6/10. James Child finishes on the podium, by the way. Luke Maxwell will have to lick his wound from 4th place. It's not even been that bad of a day for him, but he has lost the championship lead. Jamie Bird will be inside the top 5 as well, with Daryl Taylor getting up to 6th. Mike Pearson finishing in 7th. There's Sergio De La Cruz, George Gonzaga and James Barry, who round out the top 10. James Ritchie improved positions quite a lot there, actually, into 11th. Then of Phil Justin. Michael LeMay and Paul Clark retired after that crash on the front straight. Paul LeMay finished 9 laps down after parking at Phil Glover, Clark Williams, and also the rest of them, Graham Brown and Alan Patterson, failed to finish that race. I don't think Graham Brown actually took the start, although I could be wrong. I don't think he did at the end of that one. So Simon Edwards is the new championship leader. I said that that's the biggest amount of points anyone's gained in a day since we were at round 5 of the season, which feels like a very, very long time ago. At round 5 was when we were at Spa. Remember that?
Yeah.
It was a lifetime ago.
It was
but
a
there
lifetime.
was the move from Luke Maxwell down the inside. This is a replay of the smash on the front straight. I mean, I think Michael LeMay has someone alongside him there, and he's come across on them, unfortunately. And I think that is going to go down as his fault. I don't think Luke Maxwell did anything wrong in that, and I think it was down on Michael LeMay there coming across on the front straight.
Yeah, but he has come in and apologised. He did say, I didn't know Jamie was there, and I am sorry to both of you. So fair play to Michael. He didn't know he was there as well. It wasn't something easily spotted. He just come out and that was it. So for Michael LeMay, fair play. He again did a definitive job. He should have been in the lead. He should have got Ward. He just wasn't quite decisive enough here as well. But I'll tell you what we are going to do first. I'm not going to go to Luke. We are going to start off with Martina Ward there, Ewan, who's in the booth for you.
Yeah, welcome in, Martina. Good to have you with us. Just denied that win at the very end. Just tell us about those last few laps as Simon was bearing down on you.
Martina?
Oh, hello, Martina. Are you there? Well, that's not looking promising, is it?
No, we'll give her a minute to sort herself out. Let's have a chat with Luke while we're here then, while we wait for Martina to sort her mics out.
Well, yeah, let's go with race winners first, shall we? Or at least one of them. Luke Maxwell's here. Welcome in, Luke. Good to have you with us. Sprint race win in the end, but I bet that feels like a long time ago now after that race. Just tell us about having to work your way through the field, and then, you know, it felt at points for yourself and Simon, actually, that you were moving 1 step forward and 2 steps back, and you were making overtakes again and again and again on the same people who kept re-overtaking you, and it was a bit of a disaster. I'm sure it was maybe enjoyable, maybe it was stressful. It was certainly enjoyable for us. What was that second race like?
Yeah, I'm going with stressful, definitely. It was hard work. I mean, I thought, you know, it's not my favourite circuit. I know Simon's quickest, so I was really pleased with the first race and thought, well, it's definitely going to be a tough second race. But I just overloaded the wing and going up the straights there, I was kind of losing out. I wasn't getting good exits because I think my line through the bottom corner there is a little bit quicker, and I was having to come off the gas and then, hesitate getting on the throttle, and it was killing me. So that and a bit too much wing was what did for me there. But it was just a case of holding on. I mean, we were so close to various incidents throughout the race. It's just tough. So I was just thinking, look, if I could kind of stay with Simon, but I couldn't get there with the traffic in the end. And where does that leave us, championship-wise? We still fairly close, hopefully.
It is still very close. By the way, I'll give you a bit of context that I'm sure you don't really want, but I'm going to give it you anyway. After the first race, you increased your gap to 9 points, as I'm sure you might have realised, which feels like quite a big advantage, even if it isn't in reality. But with that win, Simon Edwards has gone from that to taking a 3-point championship lead. So you're right, it is still very close. In fact, closer than it was at the start of tonight, but it's not in your favour anymore. How do you feel about that going into the final race behind now?
Well, it's. I think it's going to be an interesting one next week with the knock hill reverse. None of us have driven it, I think. So I'm sure John will be back, obviously keen to win there as well. So it's going to be tight, isn't it? I mean, taking it to the last week with Simon, I'll take that. Given how close it's been, I think I've missed a couple of rounds as well. So I think it's I'll give it the best shot tonight, and just trying to make sure I didn't make any silly mistakes, and that it was still all to go for next weekend. And I think we still are. I mean, obviously it'd be better to be 3 points ahead, but it's good. It makes no difference, I think.
Can you do it, Luke?
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
That's what I want to hear. You're my pick.
He's not going to answer no to that, is he?
Well, no, you're not. But,
I'll go for it. You've got to go for it. Go for it.
Let's just put it this way, Luke. You've got my support. Ewan's gone for Simon. So, that says it all, doesn't it?
Oh, I forgot that. Yeah. Well actually,
Ewan. Yeah.
I'd like to clarify that was before this round, actually. And so far, it turned out quite well.
Look at him backtracking. He needs a shovel. He's dug his hole that deep.
Oh, that's not backtracking. That's just making sure you absolutely know that I predicted this quite well.
Simon's done a cracking job this season. He deserves to be where he is, and I'm just really glad to have managed to hang on really and be up there with him at this point. So I'm going to give it all next week. I'm going to get plenty of practice in over the weekend. So may the best man win.
Yeah, exactly. And it does seem, by the way, that whenever you're in the championship fight on the final race, it's always just against Simon Edwards. Other people seem to have finales with other people, but you've only had is this the third time this has happened now? It's just been third time in the last year and a half or something.
Yeah, I think it is, because it was I won the first one, didn't I? And then it was we had it at the Nords where he took me there. So yeah, it'd be a shame to lose out on the last race again. So I've got to go for it, haven't I?
Go on, Luke.
It's 1-1 so far, looking at it that way, I suppose, with finales. So let's see how that goes. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, Luke, before we let you go?
I'll give a shout out to Simon. He's done a terrific job today. Fair play, good run. I know he wasn't very pleased after the first sprint race there. So great job he did getting through the field.
Absolutely, Luke. Congratulations on your first race win tonight, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers, boys. See ya.
Bye.
Thanks very much. Luke Maxwell there, joining us at the end of the races tonight at Mosport, which is great to chat to him, of course. Let's also chat to Simon Edwards, who won the other race tonight. Welcome in, Simon. Good to have you with us. Race 2 winner instead, after a race 1 that did not go to plan at all. We'll get to that, but what about those final few laps in race 2? And in fact, all of the laps, because you seem to overtake someone or be overtaken on every single lap of that race. It was absolutely mental to watch. How was it to drive in?
It was good because I had my lower downforce, so I had the advantage down the straights. So that second race was great until I fell off at Moss and then had to come back again. So I think I'd got up to 4th and then I fell off at Moss and had to come back from 7th maybe. But yeah, that first race, I just had a weird sort of two corner rear end slip on that first lap, and then I just couldn't get into it, so I couldn't make the lap time, so I kept getting attacked. You probably saw. And then I got a hell of a net code at the top there. It was about a foot between us.
I did wonder. I didn't think. I thought we thought actually that you lost it on your own actually, but okay, that's interesting. So that was definitely net code.
Yeah, I thought you lost it on your own as well. But
no, definitely not. It was definitely a big hit to the rear, because I understeer around there normally, so I wouldn't go off in reverse.
Okay.
Luckily, I hit the tyres at a good angle, if you like, and didn't seriously damage anything. Just a little tiny bit of damage on the rear.
I did wonder about that actually, and also what was going through your mind at that point as you were going backwards straight towards the wall. I was thinking, is this championship about to be settled here with 3 races to go? Not mathematically, of course, but, theoretically and realistically, was that in your mind a little bit as you were heading backwards towards the wall, or was it happening a bit too quickly for that kind of moment?
I was thinking the usual thoughts at that moment, but then I was thinking, can I get 10th? Can I get 10th? Does it keep going when I've hit it? When I hit the wall, is it still straight? Can I get 10th? And then realised I hadn't lost too many positions. I think I made 2 back up, didn't I, to get 3rd?
Mm. Yeah, well, for you actually, you got a free one, I suppose, with Gonzaga going off. But yeah, was it? No, it was 2, wasn't it? Yeah, sorry, that does count the free one. So anyway, I'm forgetting what's happened in race 1 here. We've seen race 2 in the meantime. Want to chat to you a little bit as well before we go about next week. Not co-reverse. Luke said that he'll have to spend some of the time learning his way. Well, not learning his way around because obviously he knows knockhill, but not many people do it in reverse very often. What's your approach to that final round of the season?
I've barely done knockhill the right way around, so I'm not sure I'm that much at a disadvantage. So, yeah, I'm going to have a good couple of hours practice over the weekend for working out where the hell all the corners have gone.
I know this might sound a crazy question. I just want to get in here really quickly. Did you feel bad about taking away Martina's first win, Simon?
No.
Oh, okay. Well,
I congratulated on nearly winning.
Oh,
but,
okay.
No, I wanted that. I was going to steal it any way I could. Yeah.
Oh, all right then. Well, there you go.
The ruthless mindset of Simon Edwards there, just taking the race win away. But there we are. No, thoroughly deserved, Simon. Is there anyone else to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, I better give a shout out to Martina for giving her the bad news.
For getting robbed at the end.
Dear. Well, you needed the points, so there's always that excuse. Congratulations, Simon, on the win here tonight in race 2, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Yep, see you there.
All right, thanks very much. Simon Edwards, their race 2 winner here tonight at Mosport, just ahead of Martina Ward, who I believe, we can bring in now. Welcome in, Martina. Good to have you with us. Hopefully we can chat to you now, which would be nice. Second place in race 2, and Simon Edwards just taking that away from you right at the very end. Just tell us about those final few laps.
Simon is absolutely heartless, but he had to fight for this one, so I'll let him have it, but I'm coming for you, Simon. This was, I don't know where this came from. I barely had any practice. I was really, really slow in the practice ahead of qualifying, so I just decided I'm gonna go around. Race 1 was fun enough. Had a really good battle with James Child and with Clark. Unfortunately, Clark sent it off the track, exit stage left. And after that, it was a bit of a lonely drive. When I realized I'm on pole for race 2, I was a little bit nervous, but I figured everyone's gonna come by within a few corners, maybe a lap. But then 1 lap, 2 lap, 5 laps, 19 laps. I mean, I've only ever led like 2 or 3 laps in this league in the 7 or 8 seasons I've done it. So, I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's crazy.
I was gutted. I've got to say, I was gutted for you, Martina.
Were you rooting for me?
I was rooting for you in a weird kind of way.
Oh, thank you.
That's all right. No worries. Simon wins all the time. You know what I mean? It's just we've seen him win, haven't we? We haven't seen you go on and crap one here as well. 5th time on the racetrack all season. I thought you were going to get it. I did. I was hoping you were going to defend like a lion and make. And then he took it anyway.
I tried.
I tried.
I had no chance against Simon. I mean, I did my best against Michael. He must have been so annoyed.
Yeah.
But I pulled out all the tricks, but no chance against Simon and his low downforce. He just passed me like a freight train.
Oh well.
Yes. He does like that low downforce, doesn't he? And he makes his life very easy sometimes in the second race, especially. But never mind. It's a second place still, which is still a very good position. What do you think, by the way, in terms of this circuit? Because it's it does seem bizarre sometimes. We've seen it already at Spa actually this season, where the front drivers, or at least the drivers who did well in race 1, can't seem to find their way through in race 2 very easily. That happened at Spa, and it's happened again here. Is there anything about this circuit that made it particularly difficult for them to get past, do you think? I mean, you said it yourself. Michael struggled to get past you, for example. Is there anything about this circuit that particularly made it difficult?
I never considered this to be one of the most difficult circuits to overtake on, not like Brands or something, but I think the field was just so close. I didn't really pay attention to qualifying lap times, but within practice, there were like 15 of us within a second. So I think just the field has really gotten so competitive and everyone is so close. So yeah, people have to fight harder.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think we had 16 actually in qualifying within a second. It's quite remarkable. So maybe that is one of the reasons, to be fair. Thanks very much for joining us tonight, Martina. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go this evening?
Definitely gonna give a shout out to James Child, Clark, Simon. Awesome racing today. And yeah, to everyone else in the league who's made me really the driver I am today. So thanks, guys.
Absolutely, we've certainly seen that tonight. Congratulations, Martina, on second place here in race 2, and hopefully we'll see you at the final round.
Hope so too. Thanks, guys.
Thanks very much, Martina Ward, second place in race 2 here tonight at Mosport. And that will just about do it for us here this evening. Unfortunately, Phil Glover crashed out of race 2. We normally hear from him at this stage. He's no longer here. He's gone to, I was about to say drown his sorrows. Maybe he's not. But he's certainly got himself out of his rig. And he's unfortunately not going to join us here tonight for a bit of a chat, which is a shame, but never mind. I'm sure we'll catch up with him next week as we round off the season. I'm sure we'll have a few more chats with a lot more drivers actually to round off the Radical Race Series season. But what a season it's been. What a couple of rounds this was, or a couple of races I should say this was here. Remarkable racing, especially in race 2. Martina Ward very nearly hanging on to the win. Simon Edwards snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. At one point tonight I thought the championship was all but over for him, but he takes back the lead somehow, and he'll have 3 points over Luke Maxwell at the final round. What a race and what a season.
Yeah, it's been incredible. Absolutely incredible. I've loved this season. I cannot wait for Knock Hill Reverse. How are these cars going to go through that left-right downhill? It's bad enough in a TCR, let alone a lightweight cardboard go-kart like the SR10. They are literally at some points going to be taken off. And I have to mention this as well. Robert Woodward has done an amazing job. He's put Radical Race Series Martina Ward driver of the day in Discord there as well, with a picture of as well. So he was quick on the board there as well. But I've loved this season. I love this series in general. It's been absolutely epic. We are coming back next year as well, so we will announce that now. We will be back next year broadcasting this racing as well. Ewan, bring it on. Let's go into this reverse. Let's bring Johnny McHutchinson back as well, and let's see these cars fly through the left-hander and right-hander of turn 4 and 5, because I can guarantee there's going to be people exiting stage left and right on that one particular corner.
It's going to be very, very difficult for everybody. And I wonder whether Luke Maxwell and Simon Edwards have sort of discounted the fact that they might be able to win either of the races because they know McHutchison will be there. That certainly changes things and possibly puts things into Simon Edwards' favour. But I wouldn't like to say who is the favourite going into the final race. We've both made our predictions. They're based on nothing but pure coin flippage, I would say. We both could have gone with either, in all honesty.
I think it's who your favourite is.
And I'm sure you could have at home as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think it is. I think it is. Come on, you pick one, I pick one, and that's it. Now we're going in it. We're going to go into this gladiatorial battle, this arena, this Colosseum of Scotland that is Knock Hill. Who's going to take it? I don't know. But with Johnny McHutchinson coming back as well, it's going to be even more exciting, Ewan. But we'll see what happens.
We will. I'm sure everyone at home as well will be undecided as to who's going to win this championship, but that's exactly the way that we'd like it to be. For now, we will sign off, though. Thanks very much for tuning in here tonight. I'm sure you've enjoyed the racing. It's been absolutely fantastic once again. One more round to go at Knockhill. Make sure you join us for that and subscribe to the JPB YouTube channel in the meantime as well. I've been Ewan O'Leary alongside James Parfitt, and until we see you in 1 week's time for the finale at Knockhill, it's goodbye for now.